Hello, everyone, and welcome to Rain's Hour of Power. My name's Byron Belka, and I am thrilled to have you here. You know, over the last few years, I've had the good fortune of traveling all around the globe, and I've been able to see these success stories firsthand. And I've seen so many that I can't even count them. There's nothing more powerful than seeing somebody believe in something, try something, and have it change their life. So over the next few minutes, thank you so much for joining today. It's a pleasure to have you.
How are you, Byron? How are things, my friend? You are something else, man. I always love the stuff you do on your story. I always come home looking forward to see what you're doing today, and we fall over laughing with you and your kids. My goodness. Thanks for having me.
Hey, well,
how are you, buddy?
I'm doing great, Brian. And you know what? That's the beauty. If we're not doing business and it's just not just a part of who we are, we're not having fun, then we're doing it wrong, right? It should, what we're doing within Rain.
There, right?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I see Dee. How are you? Hey, great to see you.
She sends a love. She's watching me there. She says, you have to be on your best behavior. I'm watching you.
Well, you know, I can see what you're doing, Brian. I love the fact that you're passionate. You're somebody that's a positive individual going out there trying to bless people. But I mean, what were some of the things that even introduced you to Rain? I mean, why are you here? And I know that you've seen some things with the product, and that's kind of what attracted. But maybe give people a little bit of your background and what brought you to Rain in the first place.
Thank you, Byron. First of all, thank you for inviting me here. I appreciate it. And I echo everything you said as well about Loretta and Ricky and Casey. I love the haircut, Casey. I love the shirt. Listen, Byron, I am telling you, man, I'm sure you hear, as you said, lots of different testimonies and lots of different stories. We are literally in over 50 markets. That's how many people are actually involved and connected with Rain. So I'm sure you're inundated with stories. But I'm so honored to be here today to share a little bit of my experience with Rain. Hopefully next time we get to do this, I'll be sharing the business side. But for today, I just want to focus on the product because that's how it started for me. But before we get into that, I just want to quickly tell people my background. I am a business developer. I develop brands for big companies. I've worked with global brands for Ireland here for over 20 years. Okay, so I'm a professional full-time, but in our everyday lives, something happens. And in my case, I have a wonderful dad, never sick a day in his life. I don't remember growing up, going to school, leaving dad at home because he was unwell, he couldn't go to work. It never happened. So that's how fit and healthy he was until something happened. I actually did a video about this for anyone that wants to hear it, but I'll share it briefly with you. I won't take as long. I was sitting here in my Ireland home. I live in Ireland now. My parents are still in Southern Africa. And my goodness, it hit me like a ton of bricks. Something happened and dad collapsed outside one day. And everybody was surprised. He never faints. He never has any issues. And they rushed him to hospital. And that's when it all began. Fast forward a few years later, his health deteriorated so fast. It was actually quite something. The doctors had used all their experience and their knowledge to try and save him. He has been in a coma multiple times. And they had literally come to the end of their tethers and said, you know what, let's just go home and wait. Even to this day, when I think about this, it actually is quite an emotional thing. And we were left with two options, either to get ready for a funeral. And something in my spirit kept saying, you know what? Surely there has to be something out there we could do for him. But this is why I say that, because it meant whatever I go and try to do, I am 100% sure of, because I don't want to give him something that will make his situation worse or finish him off. So thankfully, I have a friend of mine in the UK. We were in business together in a different operation some years back. And I hadn't heard from this friend of mine in years, because she was unwell, and out of the blue, piped up because she saw me on Facebook. Her name is Denise Jones, by the way. The first thing she asked me was, hey, Brian, I haven't seen you in a long time. And I was surprised. I was like, geez, it's good to see you. I thought you were unwell. I was wondering what happened. And she says, I will tell you what happened. First and foremost, how is your dad? Because she knew about the story of my dad. My dad had been ill for years at this point, since 2011, actually. And as soon as I told her, she says, hold that thought. I was nearly dying as well. I had serious problems. I couldn't function. Here is what worked for me. She just sent me the link. Because of my respect and trust and friendship with Denise Jones, I looked at the link. The first thing I saw were seeds. That I can relate because I'm an African guy. We grew up with seeds. We grow our own stuff. And I thought, okay, seeds, what's this? And every turn from that moment, as I looked into what is this? How is it put together? How does it even work? I was relieved to know that one, it's not medicine. So what is it? Nutrition. And I thought to myself, okay, hold on a minute. As I studied and researched this, every single time I was blown away by the results. To the point where I showed it to my siblings and we looked at this and we said, okay, you know what? If all else fails and we have tried this, we can rest assured that we did everything we can for our dad because he gave everything for us. So at that time, we didn't have an office in Ireland. We didn't have an office in South Africa. So can you imagine trying to send Rain products around the globe all the way there? It costed us an extra 5 times of what we ordered just to get the boxes to him. Not everybody will have that kind of money lying around, okay? But that's the sacrifice we made. I say this to tell you that when the delivery of the Rain Soul and Co. arrived at his doorstep, at that point, my dad had been home for 9 months. And those 9 months, he was bedridden, couldn't get up to go to the bathroom by himself, has had multiple surgeries. He's literally waiting to die. And as soon as he got the boxes, I'm on the phone and I'm waiting for the delivery man to arrive. And as soon as he got there, I said, take the first course straight away and the first soul. And they just shook it, rip, drink. He went back to sleep because he wasn't really mobile at all. He took the next soul packet before bedtime. That was 4 or 5 hours later. The next morning, my dad was always an early riser. The next morning, remember, my dad is literally being carried to and from the bathroom. He can't look after himself. The next morning, literally the next morning, he took 1 soul, 1 core, and went and had a shower by himself. To this day, it blows my mind. And everybody in the house back in Africa, they're wondering what's the noise. And my mom and my sister and my nieces that live with him, they hear the shower going off and they were like, what's going on? They went in and dad is coming out, you know, I'm glad to be back on my feet. What happened? There were tears of joy. They called me here. I was already on my way to work. And I couldn't believe I had to pull in my car and talk to him. The first time he got up on his feet was the morning after taking this product. It was that day that I said to myself, there is something about these seeds. There's something about these products. The very fact that there is no chemicals, there is no anything else added, and you are getting the full benefit of a seed. And I'll tell you, in my research, I found out that these seeds, they are even mentioned in the Bible for those that read Bibles and believe in God and all that stuff. And that's great. These seeds are mentioned. So they have been around for thousands of years. My confidence grew. 1, I did the research. 2, I have personal experience. And I saw my dad walk on his own feet. My dad has been on his feet ever since that day. That's 4 years ago. He shouldn't have lived beyond the Christmas of that year.
Wow.
So why then would I not be part of Rain? When I spoke to my dad that day, one thing he asked me, he said, son, you saved my life. He didn't even ask how much did it cost. His first question out of his mind was, how do you know this company? Are you in business with them? Because if you are not, you'll be a foolish man. That's what he said. I didn't join Rain until after that because I had seen the results myself. I've always said to people, we could talk about testimony after testimony, but the most powerful thing, the most powerful testimony is yours, because I can't tell you, Byron, this is good for you until you experience it. Then you'll tell us how good it is. Everybody listening to this might think, oh my goodness, really? Don't take my word for it. Take it for yourself. And it's only when I realize that these products are not for sick and dying people. I'm never sick a day in my life. I take Rain products, okay? And which I'm gonna finish on this. I've never missed a day's work because I was sick until this year. I had a major operation in January, and I didn't tell too many people about it. Major operation in my stomach. Cut open, they had to go and take some things out. When I was in hospital, this is what the doctor said. They have to, when you're in hospital, they do take your blood, they check your fluids and vitals and all of this stuff. Do you know what the doctor said to me? He said, if you were an unhealthy person, this thing was going to take you out. Whatever you're doing is working for you. I cannot remember the last time I saw someone's vitals as good as this, especially your blood count. Your blood content is actually quite something. What do you do? What do you eat? And when I pulled up the packet of salt and showed him, he said, what the hell is that? I said, this is key. This is nutrition. This is pure nutrition. He says, this thing saved your life. To this day, if I met you and showed you my stomach, unless I told you this is where the operation was, you wouldn't know. So why am I telling you this? I'm trying to show you that even if you are healthy, medicine has its place. If something happens and you are already taking Sol and Core and all the products, you give yourself a chance. I'm pretty fit, I'm pretty okay. And every time I have an issue, this is the difference. Sol, Core, and some of our Rain products. I just finished a packet of Sol Red. It's beautiful. I love it. I absolutely love it. And looking at me, I'm nearly 50. You couldn't say. I look after myself. So my point is, you don't have to be dying and sick to get the benefit of the Rain products. While you are well, take the products. It gives you a chance should something happen. And it also keeps your health optimal. Because once your health is optimal, sure, life is limitless. So I'm very grateful for Denise, who opened my eyes to Rain, first of all, which is really the most powerful thing, because if we don't tell others about these experiences, how will people know? People are set free by the power of our testimony, literally. So anybody who wants to know how we're doing, by all means reach out. I'll share with you everything that, and the beauty of this is it checks out. Give me any skeptic, it checks out. I don't have time for cynics, but skeptics, absolutely. Let's talk. Show me why you disbelieve anything we do. Because it checks out, backed by science, every step of the way, independently verified. What else would you need? So, Rain, Casey, and everybody in our head office, thank you so much, because it was because of your belief. You laid the groundwork and paved the way for the rest of us to follow. That is a powerful thing. You changed everybody's lives. 50 countries almost. Can we imagine? This is amazing. The products are absolutely out of this world. And they speak for themselves. The science of seeds, the very fact that you sow one seed, you get a tree or a plant with a fruit with hundreds of other seeds in it. If you don't need to be a scientist to look at this, just look outside your yard. How many apple seeds do you need to sow in order to have an apple tree with 500 apples with 3 or 4 seeds in each? One seed. That alone, you don't have to be a scientist. So I'm absolutely loving everything, Rain. Hopefully next time we meet, Byron, I'll be telling you about the business side, because I'm making a transition from my business development side of the world into doing Rain full time. It's coming. It's coming. Well, I just have to see out some of my contracts, because I have very limited contracts.
No, I'm sure it will happen. And you know, as you share that experience and you share that story, I mean, I can't help but think back about, you know, all the things that we've gone through at Rain that were not easy, you know,
No.
taking this company over, taking over a failed business and trying to fix it. And all of that happened, and all of that is worth it. Like you said, why would you spend 5 times the money to ship something to your dad? And there's other, I mean, it doesn't make sense logically unless there's that passion and that purpose behind it. And when I saw what seeds were doing in people's lives, because I've been in this space, I've been down with nutrition years. When seed nutrition did in people's lives, when I saw that, we couldn't let this fail. We couldn't let it disappear. We couldn't let it go away.
Thankfully, you didn't. My goodness.
Well, and it's because you see what you're seeing in your own family, and when it's close to home, and when it's people that you care about that literally get parts of their life back that they thought was gone. I mean, how do you not do whatever is necessary? See the future. Okay, how are we going to be able to do this? But I remember it was like we were trying to build a railroad track underneath a train that's moving. You know, it's just this thing is already moving, and yet we were trying to fix all of these things. And most people would think it's crazy, but it's not crazy when you know the power behind it and what can happen. And I love how you shared that experience, because it's to have that, and as we say, I don't know if this is the best term, that I'm bulletproof when it comes to seed nutrition and what we're doing. Nobody can tell me that this doesn't work. Nobody can. I'm bulletproof. Somebody could say, like you said, a skeptic, or they can say whatever. We've seen too much. We've witnessed too much. We've experienced too much. And I love what you shared, and that you were willing to look into it, and you were willing to spend that money, and you were willing to try whatever you could to help your father. I mean, that's obviously an amazing son you are, to be willing. But
to be honest, Byron, that was a small token. The men sacrificed everything for us as his kids. You know, growing up in Africa is not always easy. You know, I could summarize it this way. I know people sometimes think Africa and they think whatever they want to think, but I'll tell you, in my situation, it would have been far easier for me to end up a criminal than to be what I am. It was easier to be that than what I am. But my dad had this long vision he thought I had. And thankfully, he had done the same thing for himself, and he had really worked his socks off. He was really high up in his corporate life. You know, he was really somebody respectable. He could have chosen to buy a fancy house and live in the suburbs on the hill and pay thousands and thousands for it. But my dad decided to go and live in the middle class area and send us to really, really good schools. Hence, I have the command for English. I speak 7, 8 other languages.
Wow.
You know, he did that because I remember this to this day. He said, if I sent you to a local school across the road there, I'll be preparing you for the village here. The globe is a small village. I want to prepare you for the world. So I want you to go and mix with people who came from the other side of the world, so that you get to understand how they think and function and speak, and you'll be a part of that. And I'll tell you, it didn't make sense at the time when we were young, but it's only when I arrived in Ireland 20-something years ago, and I looked back and I had tears in my eyes, and I thought, how did he know? He changed my life. How can I not turn back and find something as valuable as this and not do it for him? He deserves much more than that. He gave everything for us. So for me, paying for that shipping for him, look, it wasn't a pair of sandals. It saved his life, okay? And to this day, every time I talk to him, every now and again, he will always ask, is my shipping coming? Are we getting our rains? He loves the product. My mom loves the product. My family loves the product. You know, it's incredible. It changed our lives. I have now, talking to the family, we are literally trying to get ourselves in a place where we can be a part of Rain as a business in a bigger scale. So that's coming down the road. But for now, the story of my dad and Rain is remarkable. Sometimes when I talk to dad, he asks about say hello to Byron. So I'll be sharing in this video.
Tell him hi for me. Sounds like an amazing father, amazing individual.
So I know he is. He's amazing. He really is. And thank you, Byron, and everybody in head office. You know, you guys were brave. I'll tell you that, because it's not every day that people see a failing business and go on and take it on. But thankfully, you were wise to it, and you, with your experience and commitment and good nature and goodwill, you knew the impact it will have on other people. And here we are, years later. And thank you for doing that. I have to give a big shout out to the guys in customer service, because I don't think they are given a fair shake. Those guys are absolutely rock stars. You know, you can say a lot about a company, but when you get in contact with the customer service, you get to see a true identity of the company. Those guys are amazing. I appreciate them. They are always on point. They are helpful with a smile, no matter how difficult the situation. Great guys. Thank you so much.
I will make sure that I pass that
Thanks
along.
for the opportunity to share my story with you, Byron.
That was amazing. Yeah, and as we kind of wrap up, if somebody's looking at this for the first time, let's say they're watching this right now, what would be just a piece of advice that you would give somebody as they're evaluating or looking at what seeds are, what Rain is all about? What would you say to them?
Two things I'll say to them. If I had a company and I wanted people to buy my products, I don't have to give the money back guarantee. I don't have to. It's not a legal obligation, and many companies don't. But if I ran a company and I gave people a money back guarantee if they're not happy with the results, that says we are confident in what we're doing. Okay? The first thing I will do, if I give that guarantee, if I start seeing a lot of people returning the product, I can turn off that option because it's optional, right? Rain International has a money back guarantee on first trial of every product. Since 2011, for years, nobody returns the product. What does that say? So what's the excuse for somebody not trying this product? There's no excuse. You're covered. If you're not happy, we'll pay your money back, the purchase price, which is fair. And the second thing I'll say, we live in a digital world now. Everything is documented. Thankfully, our products are backed by real science. This is not another fad or something that comes and goes and looks good and sounds good and has good, brilliant marketing people. Look, the results speak for themselves. As I said at the beginning, your testimony is probably the most powerful testimony than any other testimony you'll hear, because it's literally there. No one can tell you otherwise. So, two things. There's a money back guarantee. So you have no risk to try the product for the first month anyway. And second thing, we live in a digital world. Information is everywhere. The science behind our seeds and how we do things is literally available as well. The study on these seeds, people should go and check it out. PubMed.gov, you will see literally over 650 peer-reviewed studies are there for these, just a study on these seeds we use. And the fact that we don't add anything to them, you're getting the benefit of the whole seed. 100% bioavailability. How many things have that? So people need to check them out. There's no risk.
That great.
If it doesn't work, don't do it. If it works, why not?
Exactly. That's great advice, great points. Brian, thanks so much for taking some time out of your day to join us today. I'm sure what you shared was very inspirational for so many people who are maybe thinking, you know what, maybe I should talk to this person, or maybe I should reach out to a family member, or maybe I should talk to that friend who I know isn't doing as well as they have in the past.
And they should be, yeah.
And what as you said, what harm could it do? What harm? This is food. It's nutrients. It's stuff that our bodies can utilize in a condensed form. So powerful, so amazing. So thank you so much for tuning in today, everybody who's watching. I wanted to thank once again Loretta, Ricky, and then Brian. Thank you for wrapping things up today so wonderfully. So amazing to be working with so many people around the world that have this same passion to make a difference in people's lives. And I love what I do. People ask me all the time, we see you doing this constantly. You're always doing this, working here. Even though we're home, there's always something, but it's not work when you love it. When you love it and you see the results.
Absolutely. And your attitude and energy, Byron and Casey and everybody that I know who is in Rain, it's so infectious. It wants you to want to be, what's this? I want to know what the hell is going on. What are they excited about? You know, it's amazing for me. And if I may say one last thing, if I can ask everybody watching this, when was the last time you consumed something that had both the vitamins and minerals together in the same thing you're eating? A lot of things have either one or the other. It doesn't quite balance those two things. And even if they do, I'm willing to bet it's not in the same amount, in the correct amount that it should be in, that you need for your day that day.
Yeah, exactly.
Why not?
Yeah,
is my question to everybody.
That's a great question. And, you know, and good point, because sometimes people do ask, like, how come this is in the product, or how come this is in the product? And I'm like, because it's in the seed. You know, if somebody has a question, why something's in a seed, let's go talk to the creator of the seed. But I think that, I mean, they know more than, he knows more than I do. You know, it's just, we're not going to mess around with it. We're going to give people in the purest form possible those nutrients and let the body do what it does best. And as we always say, I always like to put a disclaimer out, we're not here to diagnose, prescribe, treat, or cure. What we're here to do is we're here to feed the body the nutrients it needs so it can be the miracle that it is and do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Byron, thank you so much for the opportunity. I appreciate you. And thank you, Rain, for everything it stands for and even the help it gives to people who are less fortunate than us across the world. And let's keep planting those trees, guys, and let's keep doing that with our foundation program there. That's amazing. You don't see too many organizations doing that, you know. So we're not just here corporately, you know, we're impacting lives in a real way. And that, for me, is more important than anything. So thank you again for the opportunity.